You're joining us for a drag racing special, so you've joined me today at the home of British drag racing, Centre Pod Raceway in Bedfordshire. Also on the show today, we'll have round 8 of the Porsche Super Cup from Spa, a review of this year's World Rally Championship with Colin McRae's superb repeat of last year's drive in the Rally of New Zealand. Well, I've got to admit I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to drag racing, but luckily I'm joined by Victoria Garrett, a fellow Aussie who knows all about drag racing. Yeah. Victoria, what will we be seeing today?
Well, today is the final round of the European drag season, so it's a really big day for all these races. Every bit of machinery that's worth looking at is here.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at the top fuel dragsters, the fastest sport, like the fastest accelerating cars on earth, top alcohol dragsters, funny cars and top fuel bikes.
Oh, lots of top action. Let's go and have a look around the track. The thing you immediately notice about a drag racing meeting is how accessible the drivers and cars are in the pits. Members of the public get the chance to have a look around and talk to their favourite stars. Tony Brinterson drives a top fuel car and is currently number 2 in the European Championship. I asked him what the car felt like to drive.
It's hard to say what it feels like, but it's full of power, so just pull along the strip as hard as you can.
Do you find it has a life of its own? And obviously the steering wheels, they're far more like, well, they're not even steering wheels, really, are they?
It's a steering wheel.
Do you find that they're just such minute movements, and if you oversteer or do something, it could end up on the wrong side of the track? It
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You have to be very careful. And because of the high speed, you have to move the car very slowly with the steering wheel. So, but you have full control of the car.
Now, how important is it to warm the car up? Because, I mean, when you're seeing Formula One, they're always warming the tyres up. You've got such huge tyres here. Is that important?
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
That's why we do these burnouts, to heat up the tyres and heat up the track. And then we take the car back in the same tracks, so we can launch the car very hard.
So what sort of time are you looking for today over the quarter mile?
Well, if the tracks heat up, so we get good traction, we want to run a 5.0 or something, but because we need that too.
So just around 5 seconds or just over 5 seconds?
Well, if we can run under 5 seconds, it should be very great.
Yeah. That'd be a new European record, which is what they're all going for today, because the top fuel cars are trying to get into the 4s, which hasn't been done yet in Europe, but they're doing it in the States all the time. One of your big goals.
True. But then we have to be number 1 qualifier. We want to be that, so we control the field, and then we want Peter Lance to go out in the first round tomorrow.
Now, how long is the car?
It's 300 inches.
How important are the weather conditions? I mean, you stop with rain. Does water on the track and that sort of thing affect you? Does wind affect you?
We can't race if it's water on the track.
Yeah.
So the best thing is that the track is very hot and the air is cold. Then you have a lot of oxygen in the air, the engine runs very good, and you have good traction on the track.
Yeah.
That's the best thing.
Well, Tony, good luck with today. I'm sure you'll go well. I hope the European record is within your sights.
Yep.
Well, you've heard all about the cars. Now let's see them in action.
Well, there's our sponsors trying to get a good look at this powerful selection of motor cars lined up here to do battle for the 1994 World Finals at Centre Pod. And a little bit of excitement for the crowd here, because we go with night qualifying, and the first one to suffer one of those huge explosions is the Flying Finn Risto Putiainen. That run gets him number 6 qualifying spot. And just look at the way that car explodes. Absolutely phenomenal. Tony Brinterson in the other lane just coasted to a run. Here's the new rookie, the dark horse of top fuel drag racing, Tommy Happonen, also from Finland. And this beautifully controlled run gets him a 5.28 ticket, which gets him the number 1 spot on the qualifying table. Now we move back into daylight again with the German Rico Andis closest to the camera and Tony Brinterson from Sweden in the opposing lane. And those two runs, 5.30 and 5.51, gets themselves the numbers 2 and 4 qualifiers. Averstedt, also from Sweden, ends up in the number 3 qualifying spot with a time of 5.45. Now then, here we have Risto Putianin. He's found another engine for his Mobile 1 car. Still problems for him, and also problems for Peter Lance, the Optima man. He goes through again and gets a 10.38 timing ticket, which gives him the 5th qualifying spot. And finally, this is Kenta Pearson driving Rico Ante's car. A great bit of control from the Swede. We move into round 1 of Top Fuel. The rookie driver, suddenly the driver that's worrying everybody. Sponsored by SO Ultron, this is Tommy Huppanen.
Tommy Huppanen, that was a very good qualifying run in the dark last night. You must have been pleased with that 5:28.
Yes, it's my new record. I'm very, very pleased.
That's the fastest you've ever gone in your life?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's just have a look at his bye run then. By virtue of the fact he was our number 1 qualifier, he gets a run with no opposition and goes through into the next round. Now, just watch this run. He clicks it off straight away. We look at the timing equipment and we see that this run produced the quickest 60-foot time we have ever seen at Sandipod Raceway. 0.89 merits very, very well for the future racing of Tommy Huppanen. Germany's Rico Antes burns out the man who just loves to win. He's running alongside the current leader of the European Top Fuel Association Championship, Sweden's Peter Lance.
Rico Antes, you did a 5:51 in qualifying. That puts you number 4 spot. Now, I know Tony Brinson's secretly hoping that you're going to knock Lance out in this round so that he's got a chance at the European Championship. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what I should think about his ideas about the championship, but I know that we are here for winning every round that we're running, so I cannot take any kind of excuses for Peter Lance, so I have to run as hard as we always do.
Now, you've knocked off the fastest mile per hour of the meeting so far, 277.
Yeah, that's a pretty good speed. We ran that same speed in Hockenheim. The car's kind of pretty good in the top end. We had a little problem here on the first half of the track. We need to work out, and there's the ET, so we'll probably get back to a better ET once we have the clutch in the first half working better.
Peter Lance, number 5 qualifier for you. That's not a good spot. You're normally sort of right up there, number 1 or 2. But the 3 fastest cars in Europe all went up in smoke in qualifying yesterday. What does that say?
It's quite clear. We don't have enough track time, actually. We need to have more qualifying run. I mean, this high-dollar technical car needs more runs. And for Optima Battery Racing, I'm a little bit disappointed. We like to have the number 1 spot because that may go through to the second round and secure our championship. But now I have Rick in the first round, and that will be hard. And hopefully Kent can take Tony out. Let's see what happens.
Well, Peter Lance is really worried that his championship leading position is going to be affected by the German Rico Antes. Well, is he a champion? Let's wait and see as they go up to the start line. And it is Lance away. Absolutely flies down the quarter mile. 5.26, 273 miles per hour. Rico just lights up those rear tyres and overpowers the track. Well, if you've seen one car like this before, you're absolutely right. This is the second Rico Antes car. But sitting in the hot seat here is veteran Swedish driver Kenta Persson. Now, we've seen Kenta in all manner of vehicles here at Sandipod, and he's running alongside Tony Brintenson. Brintenson sitting number 2 in the championship at the moment. Well, here they are on the start line then. Kenta Persson in the other Dakota car up against Tony Brintenson. Now, what are we going to see from Kenta Persson? A brilliant run from Tony Brintenson all the way through. Kenta loses out on that run, and a 5.22. That's looking good for Tony Brintenson. 7.01. Kenta not really into that car just yet. Well, this is Vivica Averstedt. Now, Vivica had lots of problems this year. Her confidence is really at rock bottom at the moment. She got through to the finals last year where she pulled a red light. She's up against Risto Putianin in the Mobile 1 car.
Well, Risto, that qualifying run of yours yesterday was very entertaining for us, but I guess it wasn't entertaining for you.
We had a small problem in the motor.
A small problem.
Yeah, it was hydraulics. When you put too much fuel in the motor, it can happen.
So it looked worse than it actually was.
Yeah, that's right.
So were you able to rescue the engine, or is there a new one in there?
New one. It couldn't be rescued. It was all over the place. So, but the new motor is as good, and I think you have to, if you want to get good numbers, you have to put a lot of fuel in the motor, and that's what we did, and that can happen.
And the first round, what are your thoughts on that? You meet Vivica.
Vivica ran well yesterday, so you never know.
Vivica, you've qualified number 3, a fairly solid 5:45, but you had a few problems.
Yeah, I broke the lower belt, so I mean, the run was very, very good, and of course I'm a little bit disappointed because
It could have been better.
Yeah.
Now you meet Risto in the next round, round
I
number
didn't
1.
know that.
Yeah. Now he blew up an engine yesterday,
Yeah.
and he's put the funny car engine in his car.
Uh-huh.
So do you think he's going to have problems, and you'll be safe through to the next round?
No, of course not. Of course not. I think it's going to be a tough guy to meet, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I will do my best.
Well, let's see what happens then as they come up to the start line. The Finn, Risto Putiainen, furthest away from the camera against the Valvoline lady, Vivica Avested from Sweden. Well, certainly Risto away first, smokes the tires but keeps going. He's already blown one engine this weekend, but problems for Vivica. Look at this for driving. The engine explodes, she loses her rear tire, she is all over the place and gradually brings that car to a halt. She has got the heart of a lion. Let's watch this one again. Risto Putiainen comes away from the start line first. He's clear and running, no problems with that engine. Now just watch Vivica Avested. The engine lets go with an almighty explosion. The fire comes out on the left-hand side of the car and takes that tyre away. Look at that. The good news is from the top end of the strip is that Vivica is A-OK and out of the car. Now let's have a look at the results of the first round. Tommy Huppernen goes through, Peter Lantz goes through, Tony Brintenson goes through, and Vivica Avested loses to Risto.
We damaged the whole engine, and the chassis was damaged on the back wing. But I mean, that is not the biggest problem. I'm more worried about what I did at the starting line, because something happened. It was some kind of blackout. When it was green, I looked at my hand where I had the brake. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
It's not
and
like you to be asleep on the
No,
line.
no. So I don't care about what happened in the car. It's more important what happened with me. And I feel sorry for the team because I can't explain for them. They said, "What happened? What did you do?" And I don't know.
So a bad end or a bad season for you?
Yeah, and it was a wild ride after the finish line. I promise you.
Yeah.
But
Another wild ride for Harlan Thompson in his funny car coming up after the break. These are Top Fuel funny cars. They have the same power plant as their long, thinner dragster brothers, but the same explosive power in that engine. Wow, Harlan Thompson lifts the supercharger and look at the destruction on that car. A huge explosion underneath the hood, a lightweight glass fiber body, and Harlan Thompson seems to be all right. He's at the back of the car. John Spuffard had been waiting to run alongside him in the Showtime Trans Am, but quite rightly and wisely shuts down. And that engine really, really badly damaged. Watch this again. The power and the glory of drag racing. A huge engine explosion causes that bodywork to lift. Harlan Thompson is perfectly okay. The burnout there from two Englishmen, John Spuffard in the funny car and the wild altered, the hot rod from hell of the local driver Clive Michel, sitting wedged inside this unique up-to-the-minute cockpit. Now this is John Spuffard with his Showtime Trans Am. At the Summer Nationals at Sandapod, he made everybody suddenly sit up and take notice of him, running the quickest time we've ever seen from a British funny car driver at 5.58. And he's away in front of Clive Michel. clicks off the motor after about 3 or 4 seconds, runs through 5.86 at 180 miles per hour. Clive Michel goes every which way but straight on that run. As per normal, he lives up to that name, the Hot Rod from hell. Look at that. Can he go straight in that car? Superb control. Well, the crowd are really pleased to see this man back. In the Elite Textiles car, this is British driver Gary Page. He's not been in a funny car for 3 years. We've been waiting to see this. Superb control from Gary all the way through. And then suddenly, what every funny car driver dreads, a fireball. That engine that's in front of him has let go, causing that whole car, and he rolls. The car rolls. And where is Gary now? All we can see is smoke. The car's the right way up. Now there is an escape hatch in the roof, and that is Gary's only way out. There are onboard fire extinguishers. Here he comes. The Englishman is okay. He's going to be singed. Oh, he is okay. He's out of the car. And the thing, of course, in that car is that he won't have been able to breathe for a while. He would have been covered in foam to try and protect him from the fire. Now the fire crew get in there and eradicate the fire completely. Gary's checked by the medics as they arrive on site. Interestingly enough, this was a very, very strong run for Gary Page. Don't forget, first time back in the car after a 3-year layoff. What a baptism by fire. And once that car gets burning, the one thing is temperature. It is so hot inside that car. Gary cannot now see. It's full of smoke. He can't see where he's going. And only unique driving skills to a man who's been in these cars nearly all his life has saved him here. He's off into the field. The car rolls. The bodywork is still on there. The whole car rolls over, but luckily ends the right way up. Enables Gary to come out through the roof. What does he think about that wild ride?
Yeah, the car was really good, and we decided that we were going to run the car to just after the 8th mile, and the car was fine, and I shut the car off and it put 2 rods out the side, and then the car caught fire, and then everything else went ham. And I set the fire extinguishers off, and oil got under the tyres and they went sideways, and we went in the field. And
So a bit of a driving job.
yeah, it's not really the comeback I wanted, but I'm just really sorry for Canute what I've done to his car, but
Wasn't your fault.
no, but you always feel bad about it because it's not your car.
We're with Top Alcohol now, very similar to their Top Fuel cousins, but running on a cooler fuel, methanol. We call it alcohol in drag racing. And the big news is that Barry Sheevels from Great Britain is the #1 qualifier, the first time ever in his life, having run a straight off of the trailer, 6.03, unbelievable. The first round puts Barry Sheevels up against the Rug Doctor man, Craig Lowe's. Now, Craig is experiencing 1 or 2 problems with his dragster. The reverser has gone for a start. Barry is away. Absolutely flying. Craig in chase mode, but it's Barry who gets to the top end first. 6.02. He goes even quicker. 225 miles per hour. Phenomenal stuff. Who is going to be able to stay with Barry Sheevels this weekend? Well, here's our next pair burning out, the yellow car of the Dane, Jens Nebo. Now, he was the #8 qualifier. He's running here against the #9 qualifier, Great Britain's Dave Wilson. And it's a wheels-up launch for Jens Nebo. Gets to the top end first and takes the win, 6.32, 216 miles per hour. He is becoming a force to be reckoned with. Great Britain's Doug Bond. And making a welcome return to Sandapod, the familiar Ford probe of Mickey Kagarad. Now, Mickey was here at the Summer Nationals in his all-new Ford Mustang. He had lots of problems with it at that weekend, so has decided to come back to the good old faithful. All the crowd really loved Mickey Kagarad, and he shows why. Powers through, takes the win over Doug Bond with a 6.41 at 220 miles per hour. Doug Bond has problems all the way through. Side by side with 2 funny cars, here comes the burnout. What a great show here for the big crowd to enjoy. The white car is Bernie Hepworth from Great Britain up against Leif Hollander from Sweden. And Leif Hollander makes no mistake with this one. He lays down a wonderful 6.20, 216 miles an hour. But Bernie Hepworth runs his quickest ever at 6.61, 190 miles per hour. He'll be pleased with that. next pair, Kenny McCormack, still very much a rookie in this class with the Corvette funny car, up against a Frenchman, Bob Fieler. And Fieler very much on form this weekend. He clicks off a 6.12, 227 miles per hour, one of the quickest terminal speeds. Kenny McCormack, Big Mac, loses out with a 7.31. Our next pair puts two Brits side by side. Alan Jackson in the Beretta funny car and Rob Turner in the dragster. Now, Turner's had a good year. He's sitting very high up in the European Top Fuel Association Championship. He's looking for points here this weekend, but he's up against an ever-improving Alan Jackson. But just watch this car almost go sideways on the track. Rob Turner goes through, takes the win, 6.21, the quickest that car has ever run, 220 miles an hour. And with all that sideways motion, that 6.89 for Alan Jackson is one of his quickest runs. Peering through the smoke at the Trans Am of Germany is Peter Cruz. Well, Peter Cruz has had a lot of problems in 1994, and he finds himself against the lady who has won the 94 championship, Anita Michaela.
We were just testing the new blower yesterday, and we couldn't get it run like it should have done. But, you know, I guess we have solved all the problems. And number 3 qualifier is a very good position though. And I'm expecting to have very good runs today, and let's see what will happen then.
So no taking it easy just because you've already won?
No way.
And believe me, she means that. The lady from Finland powers past Peter Cruz. He's got problems. She records 6.28, 223 miles an hour. And Peter Cruz, 9.52. He's on the trailer home to Germany. Well, here's a unique match. An altered. This is Frank Bennett from Essex with his unique Fiat Topolino altered up against the Swiss driver Urs Urbacher with his Dodge Daytona. Now, Urs Urbacher really doing well this weekend. He was the number 6 qualifier. Frank Bennett has come in as an alternate for a broken car. And he originally was our number 18 qualifier. He's got a lot of work to do here. So the little altered, always a wild, wild ride, very short wheelbase, gives the driver a lot of problems, but Urbacher away like a rocket. And he runs through 6.04. They're all producing their personal best this weekend. 6.04, 226. Urbacher has never run that quick before. So let's have a look at the end of the first round. Barry Chivos, Jens Nebo, Mickey Caran and Leif Hollander all go through. And Bob Fieler from France, Rob Turner, Anita Michaela and Urs Urbacher with that record-breaking run for him go through into the next round.
So you've seen Barry Sheevels qualifying in the top alcohol class, and Victoria and I went to have a closer look at his car. When he's not drag racing, Barry provides motor vehicles for television programs and films. Well, Barry, we've just been having a look at one of the top fuel cars up the road. You've got a top alcohol car. Do you mind telling me about the differences?
Well, basic difference is obviously the fuel that we use. Top fuel car runs nitromethane, about 98%. With a touch of methanol, we run 100% methanol.
Right. So top alcohol doesn't mean that you're good in the bar after the race?
No. Right. Sometimes. The basic outline of the motors are very similar. We produce 2,500 horsepower on methanol, whereas a top fuel car produces 5,000 horsepower. Right. And that's basically down to the fuel that they use. This is approximately 7-litre V8. Yep. Supercharged, fuel injected, 16 spark plugs, and as I say, produces 2,500 brake horsepower. So it's basically hold the brake very hard. Yeah. Pull up about 5,500 to 6,000 revs. Anticipate the lights. Off the lights. Instantly, it's up to around 100 miles an hour. Shift into second gear. Car's running along to about the 1/8 of a mile mark. Shift into top gear. Travel along the rest of the quarter of a mile.
What sort of speed have we hit then when you're in top gear?
When we hit top gear, we're running about 185 miles an hour in the 1/8 of a mile.
So the push into the back of the seat must be amazing.
Yeah, we have a computer on board, and it always pulls around 4.5 G for the first 1/8 of a mile, and then after that it gradually
So what does it feel like? Does it feel like flight? What does it feel like?
It feels like somebody standing behind you with a great big rocket or something, and then pow, you've gone. And obviously when you pull these levers here are for the parachutes. We have 2 parachutes, so when you pull the parachutes, the car, you know, we accelerate to around 220 miles an hour. When we pull the parachutes, they instantly take 100 miles an hour off. And this is a real sort of jar to the system. So that's actually, I find that worse than actually driving the car over the quarter mile, because it's some sort of negative G to pull you back into the cockpit.
What sort of stopping distance do you have?
We've got about half a mile.
Right.
But obviously that's not a problem if the chutes come out. If the chutes don't come out, we only have brakes on the rear, and from 220 miles an hour, it's difficult to slow down, and sometimes you go off the end.
We shall be keeping an eye on Barry's performance throughout the program. And after the break, Andrew Marriott will be here with a report on the Porsche Super Cup from Spa. The Nationals here at Centre Pod. She's the European champion, also the European record holder. She joins me today. She's packing her parachute. Anita, how are you?
Just fine this morning, thank you.
Yeah, and you've got quite a very interesting story at the beginning of a drag race. So how did that happen?
Is that interesting? Well, I just got generally interested in American cars when I was staying as an exchange student in States.
Yeah.
And ever since that time, I went to see drag racing, to see American car shows, cruising evenings and whatsoever. And quite normally people are wondering, how would it feel like to go into a drag race car or into a rally car or whatever, you know, race car. And so it happened that way that I became interested to think how it would feel like to get into a drag race car. I went over to one guy and I asked that could I drive a license with his car before I'm investing all my money and putting all the effort for that, to see that can I do it and is it a lot of fun. And he told me it was one of those altered cars with the engine in front of you. He said to me that, sorry, it's not suitable for ladies. And I asked, why not? You know, the engine is in front of you, you can't really see straight through. Then I asked, how do you see then? Well, I just see from the sides. Why couldn't I do the same? And he said, well, he couldn't give me any reason, and so he had to let me to do that. And after those 3 rounds, I felt that this is my sport and I really would like to do this more.
And how long ago is that now?
7 years.
So 7 years later, you're the European champion and record holder. Do you still find that there's an amount of bigotry or chauvinism with men in the sport as well, or?
Well, it's really hard to tell you because I've been such a long time already in the sport. But of course there are 35 men beside of me out of 9 different nationalities. So of course the culture difference is playing some kind of role there as well. We are very equal in Scandinavia, but it's not so common in Southern Europe.
Yeah.
But I mean that all the other competitors are treating me very well. No hassling about that.
What is your superior ability then to make you the European champion? Do you have good reactions? What is it?
Well, I have to tell you that I'm only one part of the successful team. So that means that the car has to be a good one and I'm having an excellent team behind of me. So the combination is what plays the role.
They do have to work very hard because there's about 90-minute turnaround between the actual races.
That's right.
And in that time they have to completely strip the car and put it back together again.
Yeah, and it means that the more hassling there will be if something has got broken.
Yeah.
But if it's just like checking through, you can do it within 90 minutes.
You're a chicken farmer in real life, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh.
I'm taking care of chickens.
Oh, well, it's very different to drag racing, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's quite opposite, but it's a very nice job as well.
Oh. Well, good luck with today, and I hope the rest of the year goes well for you and you remain the European champion.
Oh, thank you. I really need luck because there are going to be tough guys behind there and they don't give any mercy there and they don't say ladies first.
Oh, well, good luck with it all.
Oh, thank you.
It's back to John Price with some more drag racing. See you later.
Well, we're here for the semi-finals of Top Fuel. The number 3 man in the championship this year is Tommy Huppanen, a man who has been surprising a lot of the established Top Fuel drivers by his consistency. He's up against Peter Lantz. Now, Peter has had some real problems with his dragster and in actual fact has had to go out into the pits and borrow a rear end, a new rear end, from Vivica Avested. Now he's going to be looking for good start line reactions here as they come up into stage. And it's a red light. Peter Lantz pulls a red light on the tree. knocked himself out of competition, and Tommy Happinen runs through 5.29, both great runs. Our second pair in this semi-final puts the Swede Tony Brindersen against the Finn Risto Putiainen. Now then, is it going to be an all-Finland final? Both of those drivers absolutely brimming over with confidence. While they're away together, but problems there for Tony Brindersen. He crosses that left-hand line, and it is Risto Putiainen who takes the win. 5.29, a great run for the Mobile 1 car and the Flying Finn. So that sets up the final. Finland against Finland, Tommy Happinen against Risto Putiainen. And of course, Tommy Happinen is in Risto's old car. We move on to the next round of Top Alcohol. Jens Nebo in the Mobira car, running very, very strong this weekend, but he's up against Great Britain's Barry Sheevels. And if the power of the V8 isn't enough, Barry is running on people power this weekend. While this is all important then, the Dane against the Great Britain, Barry Sheevels closest to the camera, and Jens Nebo is away first. Barry Sheevels reels him in, drives past him, takes the win. Absolutely astounding. 6.10, 216 miles per hour. Not his quickest, but it looks good. He's into the next round. Funny car against funny car. The two Swedes, Leif Helander with the red and white Saab, and Mickey Kagarad with the Ford Probe. Now, they're great friends away from the track. They used to pit together, strangely enough, but here they are looking for a place in the semi-finals of Top Alcohol. Both of them have electric start line reactions. Both of them are hard-charging drivers. This could be anybody's race. Here we go. The lights turn green. They're away together. It's going to be the first one to the top end. Start line reactions are out of it. And right on that finish line, Leif Helander sneaks in front of Michael Kagarad. Look at that, a beautiful side-by-side run. 6.12 against 6.18. Dragster against Dragster this time. Great Britain against France. Rob Turner and Bob Feeler. Strong burnouts for both of them. But Bob Feeler always is a man to be reckoned with. He always comes through with the goods when they're needed. He drives a rocket-powered dragster when he isn't driving one of these, plus a top-fuel motorcycle. There is tons of experience there. But up against the man who's run his best ever this weekend for Great Britain, Rob Turner. And Turner is away first. And a great bit of driving there by Bob Feeler takes him in front. He cracks off a 6.07, his quickest ever. 228 miles an hour, the quickest run of the weekend. And finally, Anita Michaela is going to be meeting Urs Erbacher. Now she loses fire as she comes round for the burnout, and that must really psych her out a little bit. She comes in very, very late for a very short, sharp burnout all the time. Erbacher is sitting there waiting. He must feel pretty confident at this point in time.
Urs, you really can pull out a big number when you need to.
Yeah. I need to change a little bit on the fuel system now, so maybe we make a 5 second. We hope that.
6.04 is not far away.
Not.
Barry Sheevels has done a 6.02. You think you can improve on that?
Yeah, I think.
Well, I wonder whether he can. He would be looking for a 5 second run, Urs Erbacher. But away from the start line, Anita Michaela gets out of the traps first. A perfect whole shot run for her, and she stays in front right the way through. She beat Urs Erbacher on the start line, 6.11 against 6.10. So Barry Sheevels moves into the next round. He runs against Leif Helander, and Bob Feeler will run against Anita Michaela. The battle of the dragsters there. But first, in the semi-finals, we have the Swede, Leif Helander in the Saab funny car against Barry Sheevels. Now, Barry Sheevels, as far as this crowd are concerned, can do no wrong here this weekend. The man from Nottingham having the best race meeting of his life. Leif Helander is out to spoil that, but there's a problem. Now, this is one of those terrible moments in a driver's life where he's got no control over what goes on at all. Now, that's the start line marshal telling Leif Helander, first of all, there was one car, then there were two cars, and Sheevels gets that fixed at long last. The crew get the car up to the start line, Helander, though, thinks still that he's on his own. But suddenly, Sheevels is there and out in front. Helander is not going to be happy about this and, in fact, lodges a protest. But Barry Sheevels runs as close to a 5 as you can get.
Barry, so close to a 5, it's not funny.
Yeah, I know.
What a race.
6004. All I've got to say is that I had a problem with the chute come out. Obviously, I'm sitting in the car, don't know anything about it. Leaf Helander went into pre-stage, and I feel really sad for Leaf because, you know, I think I put him off a lot. And, you know, I mean, that's not how I like to win races.
Well, there you are. There's a very, very sad Barry Sheevels. The good news for the British crowd here, of course, is that Sheevels is into another final. Now, who is he going to meet? Anita Michaela furthest from the camera, or the man who's sponsored by the city of Paris, Bob Feeler? They come up to the start line, and again, a good line there from Anita Michaela. Keeps her in front right the way to the top. 6:09. She steps up on it as well, and yet another hole shot for her.
Anita, another hole shot. That's 2 in a row for you. God, what a race.
Well, it was so close. It was so close. I didn't know which one of us won. But, well, like you see the figures, it was very close there.
And now you've got the car back down into the 6.0s again. You're running how you should be running.
That's right, but, you know, I don't know if you have enough time.
So, a complete repeat of the final up against Barry Sheevels. How are you feeling? He's running 6.00.
He's in a very fast condition, though, but we'll do absolutely our best to beat him as well. But I guess that he's having similar opinions or ideas as well, but let's see.
So the final then puts Barry Sheevels against Anita Michaela. It's almost a rerun of the Summer Nationals here at Santa Pod. Don't go away.
Well, it's not just cars today here at Centrepod. I'm actually sitting astride a top fuel motorbike, which is driven by Steve Willett, who's the British champion. Now, Steve, let's just try and take me through this. I'm sitting on the starting line. What is it I do next?
Well, put your hands up on the bars.
Yeah.
Put your feet back on the wrist. Way back there.
Way back there.
Way back there.
So you really need to be a contortionist to ride one of
this
these
fit
things.
you quite easily.
Where is it? So you're lying flat out.
That's it. That's it. Head down.
How low?
Oh, just you can see just across the top of there.
So I guess when you're racing this, you get hungry, you just open your mouth and you can catch a few flies. Can you, mate? You're saying, yeah. And what do we do next then?
Just open the throttle and you're away.
Right. And how many? You've only got 2 gears.
Yeah, this is gear shift here. We've got first gear all the time. Just flick this over and give you top gear.
And what sort of speed would you be at when you change from first to second then?
About 160 miles an hour.
And when do you attain that?
Just before the half track.
Right. And it's the same. It's a quarter mile for the bikes as well as the cars.
Yeah, it's standing quarter mile.
So what sort of fuel do you run on?
We're using nitromethane. It's officially classified as an explosive, but we use it as a fuel.
And is it very expensive?
It's about £25 a gallon.
So when you're actually doing a run of a quarter mile, how much petrol would you use?
Well, we use 2 gallons of nitromethane to do a quarter of a mile.
Right, so what are you looking at? About 200 quid for a run?
It costs about £150 to run it down the track with your spark plugs and your general wear and tear.
Yeah. Then what sort of speeds are you trying to attain?
This motorcycle's accelerated from 0 to 204 miles an hour in 6 seconds.
So every time you're racing your quarter mile, you're trying to attain around 6 seconds, under 6 seconds?
Under 6 seconds ideally, 200 miles an hour ideally.
Well, thanks, Steve. Good luck with today.
Thank you very much.
It's now back to the drag racing. Not only a chance to see some of the cars we've had a look at today, but also all the bikes. So I hope you enjoy the finals.
The final of Top Fuel Motorcycle here at the World Finals Santa Pod 1994. This produces an Anglo-Dutch tussle between a man from Great Britain, Steve Willett, with his machine called the Dealer, and Roel Kodan from the Netherlands. And Roel over here on one of his very, very rare visits. Now, both of these guys running Puma motorcycles, round about the 12 to 1300 cc mark. Both of them run superchargers, and both are quite capable of running 6 seconds at 200 miles per hour. Now, Steve Willett from Great Britain is the favourite here to win this one, because Roel Kodan has only previously ever run a 6-second pass, and that was in the semi-finals. But it is Kodan who is away. He streaks away. leaves Woollett chasing hard, and Roll Kodan takes the win. Absolutely incredible. The team are delighted with that. 6.98, 189 miles per hour. Roll Kodan takes the win. We move on in the darkness to the final of the Outlaw Anglias. These amazing sit-up-and-beg Ford Pops that now come equipped with V8 engines. This machine here from Tony Baker has got a supercharger on there. And in the opposing lane, the quickest man in Ford Pops, Andy Carter. He runs an alcohol system in that car. Supercharged, runs on alcohol. It's like an alcohol dragster squashed up into the body of a Ford Popular. Now this weekend we've seen Andy run an incredible 7.57 in a Ford Pop, 181 miles an hour, and he's up against Tony Baker in the final, and it's Carter all the way out in front, leads Tony Baker across the finishing line, headlights on as well. And there's the winning time, 8.73. It was close though. Andy Carter was slowing at the top end, 134 miles per hour. This is the one the crowd have been waiting here for. It's the final of Top Alcohol. And of course, it's Barry Sheevels from Great Britain coming out closest to the camera against the flying Finn, Anita Michaela. Now, Anita must really think she's up against it here. Barry Sheevels is on a roll this weekend. He has run a 6.00. On her last outing, though, she was down into the 6.0s as well. At the Summer Nationals, we had these two in the final, and it was Sheevels who lost to Anita Michaela. Is retribution in his mind at the moment as the crews bring the car back? No mistakes can be made here. This is the big one. Now at the Summer Nationals, Barry Sheevels pulled a red light on the start line. He doesn't want to do that this time, and he's away first. He pulls a beautiful hole shot over Anita Michaela. What sort of time are we going to get? Let's have a look at the scoreboard. It's a 5. The first time ever at Sandipod for Top Alcohol. 5.97. The man has done it all. He's won this round of Top Alcohol, and into the bargain, he's given Sandipod Raceway its first ever 5-second alcohol run. I bet he's really happy.
That's the fastest a British guy has ever officially gone.
That's true, and I lost to a better one. He really deserves that winning. I mean, what a consistency. All the time. Brilliant job.
Anna, thanks a lot.
But see you next Easter then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you in Europe.
Well, two very, very happy people in Top Alcohol. And are we going to have two equally happy people in Top Fuel? Those nitro flames coming out the headers of Tommy Happanen's car. Risto Putianin in the Mobile car. Now, this is a bit of a grudge race between these two. Happanen is driving Risto Putianin's old car. And the one thing that Risto does not want to happen is to be beaten by this young one, the young kid, the young pretender, who's driving his old car. He's going to be going for it on this one. Now, who is going to get the points? Peter Lance has ended up as the 1994 champion. And these two are just looking for placings in the final championship table. There's no love lost between these two at all. They're both from Finland, and they don't exactly see eye to eye off of the track. And here they are, head to head, the final round of the 1994 Top Fuel Association Championship. Now, who is it going to be? Risto Putianin has already destroyed one engine here this weekend. Those flamed headers going right up to the sky. Risto, let's go, another engine. It's an expensive weekend for him, but he takes the win. A slower time for Risto Putianin, and still flames licking around that Top Fuel motor. 6.01, a 5.93 for Tommy Happanen, but it's Risto's race. Let's just watch this again. Watch for those flames. That's power. And the power overtakes Risto's car. Look at that flame coming out the back of that engine. Everything lets go all of a sudden. It's the 4th of July all over again. And Risto now has to drive the car to a standstill. Brave man. At this point in time, everything is burning off of that car. But he brings it to a halt. Risto Putianin takes the last round of the Top Fuel Championship. Well, sadly, that's the last round of the 1994 Budweiser drag season here at Santa Pod Raceway. But what a way to finish. We'll be back in 1995 with more drag racing spectaculars, so keep an eye open for drag racing from Santa Pod.
So what a great weekend for Barry Sheevels. Well, that's about it for this show. Next week on the program, we shall be in rally mode once again with highlights of the 1000 Lakes and taking a look at the Formula 3000 from Spa.